Jasmine, I'm gonna let you do your introduction on your own when I hand it over. But yeah, so this is our monthly Superwoman chat. Every single month we hold space. And we have phenomenal guest speakers such as you, Jasmine, come on and talk about an area of their expertise or an area that they're very compassionate about, something that will give back and support each other. All too often, we know that women, especially Black women, take on everything. We play so many roles, we wear so many hats, and in doing so, we oftentimes neglect ourselves. We wanted to create this space, which we've now been doing it for the past 2 years, where we come and address really important, critical topics that are important to us, whether it be from budgeting to self-care, to journaling, to planning, anything that we know will support and benefit us, we've brought to this space. And so one of the main things we want to acknowledge is that when people take time and space to come together, it's important because we learn from each other, we become motivated and inspired in one way or the other. So I know you're going to come on and talk about some self-care and share your story. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you and we'll go from there. And if you're just joining us, please mute your mics.
Yeah, it looks like people are starting to join in, so I'm really happy that they are. And give a quick shout out. I think this is Jasmine, who I've been DMing with right before this talk started. Oh, really? So hey, it's good.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's so funny that like my dad used to say that people would ask him like, "Is that your daughter?" Because like I said, my maiden name is Turner, and it's just funny.
So people thought that ask her dad if she was me and she was on the news, which is so funny.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you all so much for having me. I want to thank Avail Counseling. I want to thank ECA just for this invitation to be able to speak about something that's become really passionate for me, mental health, and just self-care, especially for women, for those of us who are in the world doing our thing, whatever that looks like for us. So when I was thinking about what to do for this, Tangi and I were in touch a long time ago, and you have your whole thing planned out, and you do everything, and then it happened. And when you say it, what is she talking about? Well, it happened. It was in the parking lot of Short Pump Town Center. The cape completely fell off, and I started from scratch of what I wanted to speak about tonight. But that cape fell off, and the tears came on, and I cried so hard. I mean, like one of those really ugly cries that we all have from time to time, where you have to start taking the deep breaths over and over again. And the only words that I was able to get out to my husband, who was on the other end of the phone when this happened, was, "I'm just so tired. I'm so tired." And that's all I could say over and over and over again. And so I'm going to share my screen as I jump in here, and it says share your entire screen. So there we go. Let's see. I don't know if it's letting me. There we go. And jumping in here, can you all see this?
Yes.
Because I can't see you, but I can see this. So there we go.
Yes, you can see it.
And I want to talk about the topic of taking your time. So going back to that story about the very ugly cry, I've had a really full summer. A promotion at work. We bought a new home. We took a vacation. That's the picture of us in Charleston, South Carolina, right in the middle. My beautiful bonus daughter, you can see there, Aubrey, was with us for the summer, as she is every single summer, and she got the opportunity to do dance camp, and she went to YMCA camp. We had lots of outdoor, socially distant play dates. I also spent the summer teaching yoga and cycling where I had time, and of course just taking care of the family and working. But that cathartic cry that I had on Friday was the day before we threw a butterfly backyard bonanza for Aubrey, who was turning 9, with a few close family members and friends. And I just felt so heavy. I felt heavy, and I felt like that cape had just been ripped off. It didn't just fall off, it felt ripped off. My husband said to me, "When you get home, go upstairs and just lay down and take your time. Take time for you." And I have to say that I am really incredibly grateful for supportive people in my life who can recognize when I'm starting to get to that place. And we all know sometimes when we get into that space for ourselves. And so I did just that. I ate some really good pizza and I went upstairs and I was fast asleep by 9 o'clock on a Friday night. There was still stuff to do for this birthday party, but I just needed to take a break. I couldn't do it anymore. They took care of all the rest of the planning, they prepped the food together, daddy and daughter. And when I woke up the next day, I felt really good because I finally felt like I had taken a reset and a full, deep rest. And I realized that I had slipped out of all of the self-care rituals that I had become really particular about over the last 6 months. And so in an odd way, I felt like I needed that moment where I had to just stop and have a cry to realize and to remind myself to give myself grace. And it's the same grace that as a yoga instructor, so here's where that introduction of myself comes in. As a yoga instructor, a sound guide, even as an anchor and reporter and working at NBC 12 News, I am in part of our special projects unit. So I'm in charge of our On Your Side investigator stories where we get results for people. And with that comes a bit of grace when working. And I realize that grace that I try to help others extend to themselves, I was not giving to myself in any way. In my feeling of exhaustion and brokenness, I was being held by and guided by this really wonderful amount of grace. And I had to remember that this life and this self-care journey is not about perfection in any way. It's instead about presence and progress. So I want to read a passage that I tend to go to over and over and over again from a book that I love called Gather by the author Octavia Rahim. She is amazing. But Gather is a collection of soulful sayings, poetry, and flashes of insight sewn together into a sacred garment. Each thread was collected with reverence and care, and the words here will weave their way into your heart and become a soft cover for you to land on. And it says, do you ever feel guilty when you rest, when you pause, when you don't answer the call, when you say no, when you slow down? Where does that guilt come from? For me, the guilt is textured, layered, and sometimes chain-like. It's from deep conditioning at an honest, ancestral level. How much can you take? How fast? And with how little sustenance can you work? My ancestors lived inside the systemic shackles of these questions and often died under their oppressive weight. Add to that, they lived the experience of working and doing, showing and proving triple times more than others for half a shot. You have the perfect conditioning to over-identify with work and assign your greatest personal value to that work. It's challenging even to trust rest when you have worn weary for so long. The heaviness of it has soaked through to your blood. Resting is a practice of freedom for me and as necessary as breath. Rest allows my heart to remember a slower rhythm. It retrains my cells, blood, soul to trust that there can be rest for the weary. I rest for all of the women within me who never could. I have to read that last line again. I rest for all of the women within me who never could. A word, right? A word. And so when I think about breaking down in the parking lot of Short Pump Town Center, I think about going upstairs and getting in the bed at 8 o'clock at night and resting for the mamas and the grandmamas, the great-grandmas, who kept going until their bones were tired, feeling that they had to take care of everything and everyone. And I think about the mantra that we have at the yoga community that I am so proud to be a part of, Versal Yoga. I am well, we are well. So when I am well, rested, when I am in my practices of self-care, even if it's just a little bit every single day, that trickles down to all the other avenues and all the other places that I just mentioned. the husband, the baby girl, the students who come for a guide in yoga or sound or whatever it may be, even those who come to take a really hard, intense cardio class when I'm teaching cycling. When I am well, that wellness can go out towards other people. So right now I'm in a place of reigniting what I call my power hour or half hour, or sometimes it's just 10 minutes. Maybe that's all I have for that day. But this includes waking up in the morning to take time for the 3 M's. And I learned these 3 M's from my sound teacher, Natasha Freeman, the owner of Lucid Living in Richmond. And I want to share my screen one more time to show you all. But the 3 M's are so, so vital. And here they go. Movement, meals, meditation, / mindfulness. And these are the things that I've chosen to do when I wake up to really jump in, before I jump into the day. But I'm also understanding that there could be moments, there could be days, there could be weeks where this is not all together, where the 3 M's are not all together. And so we talk about self-care and having self-care rituals, but it's really also important to give grace in that, because we can get so caught up in saying, but I'm not doing the ritual in the way that I'm supposed to. Give yourself grace that there may be a morning where you need to sleep a little bit more instead of running out and going on that run or even doing yoga. There could be a morning where your yoga or your movement is just some light stretches, whatever it is. But the 3 M's have really helped me. So this past Tuesday morning, I can say that I felt the most peace that I have felt in a while. It was just full relaxation. Rest, right? Resting for those women within me. It happened while I was in Shavasana, or for those who are familiar with yoga, it's your final pose where you're just laying there, totally laying there. Here's an example. And Shayna Thornton, who I believe has done one of these talks before, this is a sound bath. Yes, this was the first. I love her so much, and this is the first sound bath that I did with her. So I use this as an example of what I looked like in Shavasana at home. The sun was shining through the windows, and at first, I'll be totally honest, my mind started going to my to-do list for that day. What did I have to do when I got to work? What needed to be done when I got home? And then all of a sudden, I heard very clearly, and I felt in my heart and really in my soul, be here now. You need this rest, Jasmine. And it's just another reminder that it's okay to just take that cape off and to rest. It's so, so important for all of us. You know, as a superwoman, which all of you are, you have to remember that taking care of yourself and allowing that cape, you can hang it up, right? Nice and neat somewhere. Taking that off and just taking your time could benefit so much more than just you. When you are well, the people you love will benefit in ways you can never imagine. And so this is probably cliche, but we hear it all the time. Your self-care doesn't have to be elaborate, expensive. Yes, it can be that bomb mani-pedi, okay? Because sometimes you just have to do it. You need it. Or you can have that massage you need. Take yourself on that date. Take yourself shopping, whatever it may be. But sometimes, at least my self-care looks like setting a boundary with a situation or a person. My self-care is sometimes a good nap or a good sleep. My self-care is stillness, or maybe taking a mindful moment. I really love sometimes just going outside and sitting. My self-care can be journaling. My self-care can be prayer and meditation. So I want us now, and this is perfect because we got a few more people joining us. When you think about self-care for you, what does it look like? So could we, if you don't mind sharing, dropping it in the chat, what does self-care look like for you? Maybe it's just a couple of things that you do that you found that help you feel like you're recharging or like you're resting. Whoever wants to jump in, I'm waiting for the chat. But I see people's fingers moving. I also enjoy these opportunities for things to be a little more interactive. So I'm not going to keep talking for too much longer because I want us to actually have some dialogue. But yeah, thinking about what self-care looks like for you, just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, and I think since we're so small too, it would be okay to unmute for the moment and share, and then just mute your mic back.
Yeah.
Can I say something then?
Yes.
I'm driving. I didn't want to
don't
type and drive. So my name is Letitia. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for holding this space today. It's genuinely appreciated and very much so needed with my lifestyle. What I do for self-care is a lot of things. It depends on like whatever I feel like I'm needing in the moment. So definitely I have a massage membership, so I try to go there at least once a month, or even just like bathing, like taking a bath, like putting rose petals in there, a little candlelight, a little music, cleaning my house, reading. I've been finding lately that like doing stretches for like 20 minutes and focusing on my breathing has been a very useful thing, especially early in the morning when I first wake up, so that my mind is like rested. What else did I do? I spend a lot of time like outdoors. That's been my new favorite thing, like putting my feet in the ground, getting some sunlight, doing anything where I can like hear nature, see nature, smell nature, depending on what it's bringing. Okay. Just trying to find ways where I'm quiet, so that my life is very busy and I have a lot of working parts, and I feel myself getting really anxious if I don't find time for me. So anything that's quiet where I can just like calm my thoughts, not think about what else is going on in my life, but just try to center myself, has been very, very, very helpful. I don't know if that helps anybody else, but that's my thing.
Yes, Letitia, yes, I love all of that. In a mantra that I, was talking about earlier, but that I have to tell myself because I'm like you, a really full life, and I tend to get really anxious, and it's something that I work on in therapy. Is just not allowing my thoughts, my racing thoughts, to take me over, but be here now. So the two mantras: be here now and what is true. Because I also have a tendency to say, oh my gosh, well, what if this happens? What does this happen? All these scenarios that could just turn into catastrophe in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I switch between those mantras sometimes when I feel myself going into those places and just say, be here now. And then what is true? So what do I know to be true? I'm okay.
You have no idea how much I need to hear those two things as a reminder, because that's my same thing. Like, I struggle with being present. Mm-hmm. So I work on that therapy as well. And just in journaling, I've been getting back into that too. Like gratitude journaling, either weekly or like welcoming the things that are to come. Like trying to be like, they call it scripting. I just found this on YouTube lately. Scripting, like for the life that I want, the things that I want to see happen, and believing that they will come to pass. That kind of like just takes some anxiousness away too.
Yes, awesome. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? I love that. I need to go get a massage now.
Yeah, I love massages too. I actually had one Monday. But I was going to say, I think the setting boundaries piece is huge for me. Just around my time in my relationships and all of that. As a therapist, like in the past year, I've really had to scale back in terms of the number of clients I've seen because it's been really heavy work. So that's a boundary, that I've had to set for myself. And also just bedtime. I've tried to be more intentional about going to bed at a certain time because I know rest is really important and getting enough sleep is really important. So
yes,
I think those are huge for me for self-care.
Yeah. And actually, this is a technique that, again, and I'm very open about talking about being in therapy just because obviously Avail counseling, outpatient counseling, and Tangi and I have connected because of that. But it just, especially, I feel like I am just really grateful for my therapist. But one of the things that we talked about, because I was struggling with sleep for a while, was setting bedtime alarms. So literally today while I was eating lunch at my desk, I set my bedtime alarm for tonight because I get excited about it because to me that's a boundary of saying this is the hard cutoff time contact, or you call me enough times to break my D&D.
Right.
I'm not going to wake up to text or call because I need to sleep. So that's awesome. Like, bedtime is important. I know it can be hard, but it's important.
It's funny you said that, Justin, because I have that on my iPhone. You can set your sleep schedule, and I have it every day, the same time, and you put your sleep goal. Some people can do 4 to 6. I'm an 8-hour type of person. I need 8 hours, and so I like that when you set it, you put when you want to wake up, and then it lets you know when you ought to be going to sleep. And so I definitely use that. So while I'm at it, my self care is definitely. I enjoy cooking for my family, for myself, nourishing the body. That is self care. I take time and I'm very intentional about it. Also, just absolutely doing nothing. Sitting down and like binging on like Master Chef and Chopped and things that I enjoy. Also, some of the time it is going to the gym and working out, but by myself. Doing those things that I enjoy is cuddling with my dog. Is different things like that. It can also be for me sometimes just spending some extra time in the shower, or listening to some relaxing tunes, doing something fun, doing something completely unrelated to work. So no self-help books. I'm not reading those. I'm not watching Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. You know what I mean? So just completely disconnecting with some of the work because sometimes it can show up everywhere. And that's a big part, just setting those limits and boundaries. And I'm too with Jasmine. This has been a heavy last year, heavier than I think we've all in the world of the clinical world have seen. And so I too have reduced my client caseload. Jasmine, I'm not doing it back to back no more. So yeah, that's my self care.
Good for you. I'm proud.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Lavina, it sounded like you turned your mic on. Did you want to share with us?
I did. I just wanted to say that I noticed for me, as far as when I don't take the time to self-care, then everything starts to come at me at one time. Like when I keep pushing, trying to take care of mom and sister and work and friends and everybody else, that's when a lot of my chaos comes. But when I do finally make that time for myself, I'm able to put stuff back in balance.
Yes, that is just so key, right? It goes back to that mantra of I am well, we are well. Like when you find yourself, and it's okay to be like, okay, when I recognize it happening, what can I do to like hold myself a little bit tighter and love on myself a little bit harder instead of getting mad at myself like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. Everything seems like it's out of control. I'm spinning, I'm swirling. Like, how do we turn those mindsets around instead of beating ourselves up because we know what is happening, right? When those moments start to happen, we know what it is. We're not taking good enough care of ourselves, so things start to slip. So just it's something I'm still working on, is having that grace with myself to be like, okay, girl, you know what's happening right now. So what do we need to do to steer this ship back around? Because the waves are rocking. You're going to make it to shore. But what do you need to do in the meantime? So you're so right. Oh, Dominique? Oh, you're still me. There you go. So what I was going to share is the first thing that I had to recognize was to be honest with myself about how I felt about things versus responding with, I'm good, I'm okay. So the first thing for me was to acknowledge really where I was, and being very honest with that and others. The other thing is that then I was very giving of my time and of myself. My job was demanding, extremely demanding, and I found myself giving to the job and then my children, and so I never really had time for me. So now that I do, I am learning how to not feel as guilty about that. And so a lot of my self-care is to want to work out by myself with my earbuds on, listening to my gospel music, and I'm in a whole different world at the gym. Before this meeting, I went for a walk. That was kind of my space. It's outside, the air, the breeze. I feel free. And it's my space to just be me and just really take this scan of how I'm feeling today, and kind of not think about anything else but myself. us in regards to not feeling so guilty and about not giving to others. Like, we have an event tomorrow at work that's after work. Do I want to go? No, but I feel guilty about not going. But at the end of the day, I have plans and it's my time, and I want to enjoy what I've planned. So, still trying to work through that process of not having that guilt with that, though. Yes, yes. Well, it's interesting what you said, because I have this note card that I found when I was pulling out books for today. And I guess this was from a workshop or something that I did, but I have written really big on this note card: self-care is listening. So listening to yourself in order to know what it is that you need when maybe you are having just the best month and everything. So we just keep it going, or you've reached that point. So how can you listen to yourself no matter the scenario, no matter the situation, to be able to know yourself, know your heart, and know your body, right? We talk about The Body Keeps Score. That's a book, one of the self-helps that Tangi has probably read. But it does. And so when we can always listen. And sometimes the call to our the call inward is a lot louder. So when it is that really, really loud call, what are we doing and what do we have in place to be able to answer it and to just take care of ourselves a little bit more? I also really love how this organically just turned into this, because I feel like we can all benefit from one another as we share. And I know that we've got some time constraints here. So two of the things I wanted to do before we close out was that I wanted to show you this poem. And I can figure out a way to send it to Tangi, but it is just everything to me. So it is by a writer named Nikki Bonas. I found her on Instagram. And here it is. And it says, here we go. Can you guys see it? Are you all able to see it?
Are you able to zoom it in to
Let's
closer a
see.
little bit?
Yeah, let's see. Ignore this. Oh, it's doing that. So now I can actually see myself. Let's see if I can. I'm going to stop presenting and then try it again.
Okay.
Because I need y'all to see these words. They are everything. So let's check this. Their entire screen. There we go. All right, can y'all see it now? If I make it big?
Oh. Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. So it says, slowing down. When your world is spinning too quickly and everything around you is moving too fast, my sweet friend, slow it down. Take however much time you need just for you. Take time to recenter and reconnect with your beautiful spirit. Take time to check in with how you're really doing inside. Are you happy? Are you burned out? Do you feel joy in your heart? Is your body exhausted? Really ask yourself and really listen. Listen to what your soul aches for right now and what your body really needs. And please, my sweet friend, whatever you need, give it to yourself. Give yourself the rest. Give yourself the peace and quiet that you have needed for so long. Give yourself time in nature to reconnect with the beautiful world we live in. Give yourself space to simply breathe after everything you've been so busy with. Never go too long without checking in with yourself. My sweet friend, never get so busy that you do not have any moments left for you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Definitely
right?
that.
I mean, everything, like even what Letitia was saying with connecting with nature, what Jasmine was saying about sleeping, what Dominique was saying about listening, what Lavinia was saying about taking your time. The whole point of what I wanted this conversation to be about was take your time. And only you know what that looks like in order to recharge. And it's not just about, okay, I'm going to refuel so I can do the next thing and just continue to go, 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 go. Take your time because we have this one vessel. So love on it. Self-care the mess out of it. Listen to it because it's yours and it's uniquely yours and it's beautifully yours. And we were all put here for a purpose, right? Not to get super preachy, but we were. So how can we fulfill our purpose if we're burned out? How can we find joy? How can we enjoy the things and the people, the kids, the mom, the dad, whoever is in our life, if we're so in a fog? So how can we be here now and be present in as many ways or in as many moments as we can possibly be? And how can we remember to give ourselves that grace, because nothing is perfect. So we have this beautiful being in this vessel, and it's not meant to be perfect. It's yours, but it's not perfect, and that's okay. But it's about just being present and pushing for progress every single day. So I wanted to share one last thing before we go this evening. And no, I didn't bring my sound bowls, which I really wanted to, but I'm going to drop a link for y'all if you want to. I recorded this 6-minute sound bath. So if anyone is unfamiliar, this will be your introduction maybe to sound healing. But this is just 6 minutes that you could just either put your headphones on or play it out loud. And it's just sounds and frequency. They kind of sound like bells for anyone who's unfamiliar. And I also made this Spotify playlist called Girl, Take Off Your Cape. So it's an hour-long playlist that has some of my favorite songs that kind of are a part of my self-care thing, whether that's when I'm journaling or just having some relaxation. You're welcome, Gina. So I wanted to share those two things with y'all because even though we're in a virtual space, this is my gift. So I can't bring anything tangible like in my hand, but this is the gift I wanted to leave. So I wanted us to close out with a meditation that I recently guided a friend with who was going through that burnout and needing to take care of herself. So I know everybody's camera's off, but if you just want to find a comfortable seat, I know you might be driving, so you can just keep your eyes open for that. But as you just start to relax, you start to invite relaxation into your body. And as you breathe, appreciate the life offered from each inhalation. So as you breathe in and breathe out, breathe in that appreciation for the life and the love that we have. And as you breathe out, allow that exhale to be a release of any tension that you might be feeling in the body right now. I want you to bring your mind to a time in which you experienced happiness. It could be something really small. Maybe you saw a friend. Maybe you watched the sunset. Or the simple joy of lying down at night. As you think about that happiness, if a smile comes on your face, let it. And when you have something in your mind, allow yourself to feel the experience of contentment. With the intention of cultivating gratitude, I invite you to offer yourself a few phrases of appreciative joy. Keep the memory that you thought of in your mind, so whether that's the lying down at night or the friend or the sunset, and offer these phrases to yourself. May my happiness continue. May my happiness grow. May I be present for the joy. May I appreciate the joy in my life. May my happiness continue. May my happiness grow. May I be present for the joy. May I appreciate the joy in my life. May my happiness continue. May my happiness grow. May I be present for the joy. May I appreciate the joy in my life. You know your own experience, so as you are having this moment of mindfulness, be true to yourself. You can offer the phrases in your head, you can say them out loud, maybe find a rhythm. May my happiness continue. May my happiness grow. May I be present for the joy. May I appreciate the joy in my life. Continuing to hold on to those thoughts of appreciative joy, of contentment. Bring to mind someone in your life who has experienced happiness recently. So maybe that happiness was with you, or maybe it was something really great that happened in their life. Picture this person in your mind. And again, you can smile as you observe their joy. Allow that smile to come on. And as you did with yourself, you can offer phrases of gratitude. May your happiness continue. May your happiness grow. May I be present for your joy. I am happy for you. For when I am well, we are well. So as you think about not only someone else's happiness, continue to think about your own as well. Allowing each inhale and exhale to bring in that gratitude, that love, that fullness that holds us, that grace. And then we exhale the things that get in the way of us experiencing what it is that we need to have a more full life, a more self-care driven life. May my happiness continue. May my happiness grow. May I be present for the joy. May I appreciate the joy in my life. Taking a deep, deep breath in through the nose, just one of those big old cleansing breaths. Just breathe in. And as you breathe out, I invite you to gently maybe flutter the eyes open if they are closed. And I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to share a piece of my heart. One of the things that I've had to break from is when we talk about that Superwoman Syndrome, is never talking about the moments that are hard, the moments where you feel whatever it is. So I appreciate this opportunity to be a part of space holding that allows for transparency, because in that is liberation. So I really appreciate this forum, and I thank y'all for listening and for sharing, because it's so easy to be like, I'm going to keep it all to myself. So again, I'm Jasmine Turner. I'm not going down the list because that doesn't matter. Just know that I am here for all of you, and I just encourage you to take your rest, take your time, and love on yourself a little more today, and let that continue for all the days that follow. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. We wanted to thank you for joining us today. And everybody that's on the call, thank you for being here. This is something that is near and dear to ECA and Avail Counseling, really helping the mental wellness of African American women. We do wear many capes, from mom to working, to being a spouse, to being maybe a caretaker. And so sometimes we need this safe space that's been created for us to come together to, one, support and help one another, but also to find ways to cope with everyday life that can be overwhelming for us. So we really want to thank you. Please, I encourage all of you to invite somebody next time to our next Superwoman chat, so that we can have more people and we can help more African American women.
Yes. Thank y'all so much. This was awesome.
Thanks, Jasmine. And so a couple of things. This will definitely post to our YouTube account, if not by tonight, in the morning, so that people can catch the replay. So as soon as we get that link, I will share that with you. If you could, please email me that poem. We definitely want to post and tag that you shared that with us. In that, we're going to post 2 other ways everyone can connect and continue to follow you. Get some sound healing, get some yoga, and all that good stuff from you. So I'll definitely reiterate that as we post about how great tonight's event went. But I do thank you for taking time to share your time and hold space with us. And we look forward to continuing to connect with you on different things in the near future.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much. Have a good evening.
Bye, guys.
See ya.